Welcome to the ESI Africa podcast, brought to you by your trusted power and energy multimedia journal. You can download this and all other episodes on esi-africa.com/podcasts. Let's get into today's conversation.
Hi everyone, and welcome to this ESI Africa podcast. I'm your favorite power and energy guru, Professor Vally Padayachee, and I'm excited to have you with us today. In this episode, we will be exploring the significant outcomes from the recent and highly successful 2025 G20 South Africa Leaders Summit, which took place in Johannesburg, South Africa in November 2025. The G20 South Africa Summit in November 2025 saw participation from not only the G20 member countries, but also guest nations and international bodies that contributed to the discussions and initiatives during the summit. Alongside the G20 members, the following key countries and organizations were involved. African Union. As a significant regional body, the African Union played a crucial role in representing African interests and perspectives during the summit. United Nations. High-level representatives, including the UN Secretary General, were present to discuss global agendas related to sustainability and development. World Bank. The World Bank was involved in discussions about financing for development and infrastructure projects, particularly in emerging economies. International Monetary Fund, IMF. The IMF participated to discuss economic stability and fiscal policies relevant to member countries. International Energy Agency, IEA. The IEA was present to emphasize energy security and collaboration on clean energy transitions. Clean Cooking Alliance, CCA. This organization was included in the discussions focused on clean cooking initiatives and their importance for health and socio-economic development. Various developing nations, several non-G20 countries, particularly from Africa and other regions, were invited as guests to share their perspectives on energy, climate change, and sustainable development. Global business leaders and stakeholders, representatives from the private sector, including industry leaders and business coalitions, were engaged in the discussions about partnerships and financing for the initiatives emerging from the summit. The presence of these countries and organizations contributed immensely to the rich dialogue and collaborative efforts aimed at addressing global challenges such as energy security, the just energy transition, sustainable development, and the need for equitable economic growth. For the first time, the G20 convened in Africa, embodying a spirit of solidarity and cooperation amongst nations, notwithstanding the withdrawal of the USA. The Leaders Summit addressed a wide range of pivotal issues, emphasizing the interconnectedness of global economies and the critical need for inclusive growth and sustainable development. The overarching theme of the summit was to promote solidarity, equality, and sustainability, which are key pillars that resonate deeply within the context of Africa's development journey. Amongst the array of topics discussed, the leaders focused particularly on just transition finance, recognizing its critical importance for achieving energy security, economic development, and national sovereignty. With over 600 million Africans lacking access to electricity, the summit highlighted the urgent need for strategies that can bridge this gap effectively and equitably. In addition, the G20 placed considerable emphasis on clean cooking initiatives aiming to address the serious health and social challenges posed by unsafe cooking practices which affect millions of people, particularly women and children in developing countries. The South African Minister of Electricity and Energy, Dr. Ramakopa, called clean cooking, as I understand it, a human rights issue, reinforcing its vital importance beyond mere energy access. Another significant area of discussion was the role of critical minerals in supporting sustainable development. As the demand for these minerals surged with the global shift towards clean energy technologies, the leaders recognized the necessity of harnessing these resources effectively to foster inclusive economic growth and ensure that developing nations can benefit from their mineral wealth. Today's podcast discussion, will delve deeper into these themes, examining how the G20 Summit's outcomes shape the future of energy, cooking solutions, and mineral resource management. Let's begin with the strides made in mobilizing finance for just energy transition. The G20 leaders reaffirmed the crucial role of energy security in fostering economic development and national sovereignty, especially in Africa, where millions still lack reliable electricity access. In fact, it's 600 million. The leaders endorsed the Voluntary Energy Security Toolkit, a comprehensive resource designed to aid countries in strengthening their energy systems through innovative technologies and regional collaborations. This initiative sets ambitious targets to triple global renewable energy capacity and double energy efficiency improvements by 2030, as I understand it. The toolkit not only facilitates access to sustainable energy sources, but also lays the groundwork for a more resilient energy infrastructure across developing nations. A noteworthy highlight of the summit was the breakthrough for clean cooking. For the first time, clean cooking has been elevated to a standing item on the G20 agenda, as I understand it, a significant achievement driven by the leadership of African governments and organizations like the Clean Cooking Alliance and the International Energy Agency. Minister Dr. Ramakopa described clean cooking as I understand it, a human rights issue, emphasizing that its significance extends beyond energy access to encompass dignity, health, and opportunity. In Africa, cooking remains a significant challenge with dire implications for health, environmental sustainability, and economic development. Current statistics reveal that there is still a fair amount of people across the continent relies on inefficient and unhealthy cooking methods. This translates to an alarming number of individuals who are primarily using traditional techniques such as biomass cooking for their daily cooking needs, also including charcoal and coal. A substantial proportion of these individuals, roughly 1 billion, depends on solid fuels such as biomass, which includes wood, dung, and crop residues, coal and charcoal for eating, heating, and cooking. These fuels, whilst widely available in many regions, pose severe health risks due to the smoke and particulates they release into the air. According to the World Health Organization, WHO, exposure to indoor air pollution from these traditional cooking methods contributes to approximately 2 million premature deaths annually in Africa, predominantly affecting women and children who spend the most time in kitchens. The health hazards associated with using solid fuels include respiratory diseases, cardiovascular problems, and increased susceptibility to infections. Children in particular are vulnerable as their developing lungs are easily affected by smoke inhalation. Additionally, the continued reliance on these inefficient cooking fuels exacerbates poverty cycles by forcing families to spend significant portions of their income on fuel, which could otherwise be allocated to education, healthcare, or other essential needs. Furthermore, the environmental impact of using biomass and coal is profound. Deforestation, land degradation, and increased carbon emissions are direct consequences of the unsustainable extraction and consumption of these fuels. Each year, millions of trees are cut down to meet the demand for firewood, leading to the loss of biodiversity and contributing to climate change. To mitigate these issues, initiatives like the G20 Clean Cooking Legacy Program are essential. By promoting access to clean cooking solutions such as liquefied petroleum gas, LPG for short, electricity, or modern biomass stoves, the aim is to transition households away from traditional fuels. Adoptions of these cleaner technologies can significantly improve health outcomes, reduce deforestation, and create economic opportunities through local manufacturing and entrepreneurship. In essence, the statistics surrounding clean cooking in Africa underscore the urgent need for interventions that address both health and environmental sustainability. With over 1 billion people relying on inefficient and unhealthy cooking methods, initiatives that promote clean cooking are critical for enhancing public health, protecting the environment, and driving socio-economic development across the continent. The leaders launched the G20 Clean Cooking Legacy Program alongside the Voluntary Infrastructure Investment Action Plan, a bit of a mouthful, closing the clean cooking gap. This framework provides actionable strategies to integrate clean cooking into national energy policies and create financing mechanisms that support local manufacturing and entrepreneurship, particularly for women and youth. The objective is clear: treat clean cooking as core infrastructure essential for sustainable growth rather than merely an ancillary issue. Successful implementation will require collaboration amongst donors, investors, and the private sector to transform these commitments into concrete projects that improve lives and drive clean energy transition. Next, let's turn to another critical area of discussion: the imperative to harness critical minerals for inclusive growth and sustainable development. As global demand for critical minerals rises due to sustainable transitions and technological advancements, it is vital that the associated benefits are fully realized, especially for developing countries facing challenges such as underinvestment and limited opportunities for value addition. The G20 Critical Minerals Framework was introduced as a vital, non-binding blueprint aimed at transforming critical mineral resources into drivers of prosperity. This framework underscores the necessity for international cooperation to establish sustainable, transparent, and resilient value chains. It promotes investments in mineral exploration and local beneficiation practices, ensuring that countries can optimize their mineral resources whilst safeguarding environments and social interests. Leaders acknowledged that critical minerals should facilitate value addition and broad-based development rather than being exported as raw materials alone. The framework supports increased exploration efforts, diversification of mineral sources, and the implementation of robust standards regarding economic and environmental stewardship. To enhance these efforts, the G20 encourages collaboration amongst public and private sectors, financial institutions, and local communities to unlock the full potential of critical minerals. Ensuring that these resources benefit local populations is paramount, and strategies for equitable economic growth and sustainable development must be prioritized. In conclusion, the 2025 G20 South Africa Leaders Summit has set a comprehensive agenda that intertwines just energy finance, clean cooking initiatives, and the strategic development of critical minerals. As we navigate the path ahead, the real challenge lies in translating these commitments into action and fostering collaborative efforts that turn promises into progress. Thank you once again for joining us for this insightful episode of the ESI Africa podcast. Stay tuned for more discussions on how Africa is shaping the energy future. This is your favorite power and energy guru, Professor Vally Padayachee, signing off. Until next time, goodbye.
You have been listening to an ESI Africa podcast. For the latest news, reports, and interviews on power, energy, and related industries, visit the ESI Africa website on esi-africa.com or follow us on social media. Until next time, thank you for tuning in.
Ensuring